Hi, today we're going to talk to you about basil. There are so many different types of basil. We only have a few varieties here. It probably looks like a lot, but there's a lot more. What we have over here is we have Cardinal Basil, Sweet Danny Basil, and Thai Basil. These basils here, lots of times they're used for ornamental purposes, but also they're used to flavor foods. The Sweet Danny Basil has a nice lemon flavor. It's great for iced tea. You'll see here we have iced tea and we put lemon basil in it. It's great to season seafood, fish, and vegetables. And it's also a nice addition to flavored vinegars. The Cardinal Basil, it can be used for any type of culinary use, but what's nice about it, it has a nice dark purple stem, so it shows off nice in your dish. The Thai basil, which is right here, and this also has a nice dark stem. It's very spicy, so it has more of a spicy flavor than the other basils, but it also withstands heat better than any other basil. So it's great for stir fries, curries, if you want to use it in soup, anything hot that you would like the basil to hold up in, the Thai basil is good for. Just remember, it has more of a spicy flavor than some of the other basils. You can also use it on salads too, in cold dishes. This grouping right here are some of our dwarf basils. These basils here are perfect for window boxes and containers or just small gardens. They have the same great flavor that the other basils have. They're just made for smaller areas. Right here we have spicy clove basil, and you'll notice that the leaves are a little bigger than the boxwood basil right next to it. The boxwood basil is going to stay smaller than the spicy clove, but they're both going to stay small. So they're great, like I said, for containers and window boxes. This grouping right here are your traditional basils that are used for pesto. You can really use any basil for pesto, but these are the best basils for pesto. The reason being they have bigger leaves and they tend to go to flower not as quickly as some of the other basil. So what we have here is we have Eleonora. Eleonora is a relatively new basil on the market. It tends to not get the downy mildew that sometimes basils get when we get long periods of rain. The next basil we have is the traditional Genovese basil. This is typically the basil that most people use for pesto. Right next to it is the Mammoth Basil. The Mammoth Basil, as the name implies, gets very big, and it has a crinkly texture. That texture really holds up in a lot of dishes. So that's also a nice basil to make salads with and for pestos and to cook with. And then we also have Newfar basil. Newfar basil is also another basil that's very resistant to diseases. Our next section of basils here are some of our more ornamental basils. We have Pesto Perpetuo, and it has very nice variegation. It's edged with white. This basil here can be used to kind of make an herb planter look a little more fancy. It stands out. So instead of having all green, you can add this and you'll have a little variegation and it adds a little something to that container. Also, it's great for edging. It grows upright, so it's great for edging. Then we have some of our purple basils here. We have Purple Ruffles, which is great in cut flower arrangements. And actually, I didn't mention here, this is also great in cut flower arrangements. All of these basils here look great in cut flower arrangements. And a few of them that I'll talk about, the flowers, they get purple flowers, which are also beautiful. So the Purple Ruffles stays a little smaller. You can use it in salads, you can use it for any culinary use, and you can use it ornamentally also. And it too is great in containers. You mix this in with other herbs and it stands out. We also have red Rubin basil. The red Rubin, the leaves are a little bigger, so they're more traditionally like the Genovese basil, except they're purple leaves. Right here, we have African blue basil. The African blue basil is just starting to flower right now. You really can't see the flowers yet, but it gets beautiful purple spikes. This basil is absolutely spectacular in cut flower arrangements, and it can also be used for culinary uses. And then the last basil we have here is a Greek columnar basil. This basil here has culinary uses and it makes a great edging in gardens. Lots of times people will create herb gardens and use this plant to edge the herb garden with. With all of these basils, it's really important to let them dry before you water them. Basils do not like to be wet. You might have noticed when we had periods of rain, maybe your basil didn't look so good. It's really important to let them dry out and then water them, and you'll get a lot more leaf production and you'll have a much nicer crop. We have more basils that we'd love to show you. Come visit us anytime and we're happy to help you.